Hamcation put on another fantastic show this year.
Stick around and we'll get right to it.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Jason, KM4ACK. We're just getting back from Hamcation, and I thought I would give a shout out to a few folks and take a look at where I spent my money this year. First up, I want to give a shout out to you guys, all of you that came down and participated in the APRS Day Out. The Daytona Beach Group was super pleased with the number of operators that we got on the Day Out program this year, and they've already told me that they want to do it again in 2027. So we'll be putting out information as that time rolls back around next year. One of the cool things they did, though, is they gave me this really awesome challenge coin as part of as a thank you to helping them put out some information on that. So a big shout out to those guys for the challenge coin. This will definitely be a nice addition to my collection. Now, stickers are one of those things that float around at ham shows. Of course, I was giving out the K8 MRD is wrong sticker to anyone who tracked me down. I think I only ended up with like 21 of those left once I got home. Once I talk to the patrons and make sure anyone that got it there wants one, or anyone over there that wants one gets one, then I'm going to put them on the website if there's any of those left. A few other notable stickers. Grayman Poda put out a unique sticker just for Hamcation 2026. So that's neat because that will be a one-of-a-kind that you can't get anywhere else. And something else that I got that was really slick was this poker chip. And this one is from KQ4 Papa Bravo Lima. So he put out this instead of doing stickers, and this was a pretty cool little token to bring home as well. But let's talk about what I spent my money on. And by the way, we'll get to the box back here right at the very end. But yeah, I did get a larger box. So unfortunately, most of this show was not about ham radio as far as the purchases I made. There are a few things in here that's ham radio, but there were several Meshtastic nodes, like this little solar node that I picked up from Low Mesh. This thing is pretty neat because it's a small solar panel, and I might do videos on these in the future, or maybe put something in the newsletter. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, there's a link below every single video. It's one newsletter a week, and you hear about things like this that I may or may not do a video on. So that was one of the Meshtastic nodes. Another one that I was super stoked about is this one, and I cannot remember the name of this one. I think it's a MK8, if I remember right, or M8K. Yeah, I'll put it across the screen right here. This one's kind of neat. It's a LilyGo T-Deck, but it's in this huge case. Big antenna on it. It's an Alpha 915 antenna. Again, I may or may not do a video on this in the future. I've just been playing with this one for a couple of days. I haven't even turned this one on yet. I actually had it over in the windowsill a few minutes ago, letting it charge up with a solar panel. But I like this one because we get all of the information right there on the front screen with the keypad. So an all-in-one unit. If you prefer, you could drop this in your backpack and connect to it via Bluetooth. But I've had this on most of the day yesterday and already again this morning, and still have 97% battery on it. So that's one of the things that's really cool about that. Yes, it's big, but if that battery will last me for a week or longer, it might be worth it in some cases. Now, let's talk about some ham radio stuff real quick. One of the things I needed was to update some coax. So I stopped by ABR Industries. By the way, you can get a discount on ABR coax using the code right there on the screen. But I needed something small and packable, so this is 35 feet of RG116. It does have the chokes built into it, so we can prevent some of that nastiness coming back into our radio. So that was one of the things that I definitely had on my list before I even went down. We also get some little trinkets. ICOM handed me a little bottle opener right there, so just one of those fun things. I literally walked by ICOM's booth and Ray Novak threw that thing at me. Continuing on with ham radio, this really caught my eye when I saw it. So you guys probably are all familiar with DigiRig. Dennis over at DigiRig is starting to put together these spool up antennas. Let's see, I've got mine. Yep, there we go. So it's an in-fed half wave that everything is in one unit. Now, you can buy these already made right from Dennis. He doesn't have, this is the 40 meter version. He doesn't have these on his website yet. I believe he does have the 20 meter version. He had a bunch of those out there. He only had one, and I was able to snag the one 40 meter version he had. The cool part of this, though, is Dennis is also making the STL files available. So if you want to print your own and build it yourself, you could absolutely do that, or you can get it already built and ready to go right from Dennis. So I'm eager to take this out. This is the first in-fed half wave that I've really wanted to try outside of my own kit that I sell. But I really like the form factor of this. I mean, this thing is tiny, so it's not going to take up a lot of room. I like the fact that you can just use your finger and spool it back into its case when you're done. A couple of Meshtastic antennas I picked up just in case I needed something a little longer. Those came highly recommended, so I definitely wanted to go over and pick those up. Bouncing back to Meshtastic, I did get another T1000. Probably didn't need it, but Dave had them out there at the campsite, so I picked up another one of those just to have a spare. Another interesting little node is this low mesh device here. The guy that builds these is going in and tweaking the Meshtastic firmware. And guys, before you go typing about MeshCore in the comments, I will try it once it's available and kind of popular in my area. Right now, there is almost nobody on MeshCore in Middle Tennessee. I'm not going to jump over there onto a playground where there's nobody else to talk to. So once MeshCore starts gaining momentum, I will definitely check that out. But for right now, I'm going to stick with Meshtastic. Doesn't matter which one's better or worse. If there's nobody else on the playground to talk to, well, it's worse in your particular area. But this guy is tweaking the firmware for these devices, and it's supposed to really improve your battery life. I do have an interview with him explaining some of the details of this particular device. I'm not sure if that video will come out before or after this one, but stay tuned for that video in whichever order it comes out. So this is another one I'm interested in playing with and seeing how the battery life is going to do. That's one of the things with the Meshtastic devices. Battery life just keeps getting better and better and better. We started out with the Hilltech V3s. You were lucky to get 24 hours. Now I can get multiple days out of a device like this tracker, and I'm hoping to be able to get several days out of this device here. Okay, one other item on the table here, and I picked this up from the Laser Ham. This is a jungle antenna, but I didn't need another 2 meter or 440 antenna or 70 centimeter antenna. This one is specifically good for GMRS, and this thing is tiny. Sorry about all the rattling of plastic. Let's get this thing out and take a quick peek at it. This is a super small antenna just for GMRS. It's got a cool little loop. I've probably got everything tied around it. There we go. It's got a cool little loop where you can hang it, and you got to straighten those wires out, but it's just this tiny little package. So I'll be eager to get this out and give this a run on GMRS. GMRS is really growing in our area, and it's something that I bought a license for because I wanted my wife to be able to use a radio, and she had zero interest in taking that ham radio exam. Now, before we get to what's in the box, I want to give a shout out to Chat Radio, and thank you for sponsoring today's video. Chat Radio has got a lot of ham radio gear. They show up at almost every show that I'm at, no matter how big or how small the show. Chat Radio seems to have a presence there, so they're doing a lot of good for a lot of the smaller shows, in addition to being at places like Hamcation and Hamvention. So definitely check out Chat Radio for your next radio needs. Now, what's in the box? Well, this box is thanks to Chat Radio. They sent me home with an ICOM 7300 Mark II. That's not mine to keep. I ain't that fortunate. But, and Jim's not, he's a great guy, but he ain't that good just to send me home with a radio like this. He sent this one home, though, as a loaner for me to check out. So you'll see a video coming with this in the near future. I'm one of the odd ducks that never owned the original 7300. I've got the 705, but never had the 7300. This gives me an opportunity to test drive the radio and decide if it's something that's going to fit into my shack. I actually don't even have a 100-watt rig in the shack right now. Well, not one that's hooked up anyway. I do have the old 857 still sitting around, but I use the ICOM 705 every single day. I do have an amp with that that'll get me up to about 50 watts, and with a solar cycle in the shape that it's been over the last couple of years, that has been more than enough radio. But as the solar cycle continues to take a dive, I'm thinking I may want to put a 100-watt radio back on my desk in the shack to give me a little bit more power to play with. If you found today's information informative or entertaining, be sure to give us a thumbs up before you head off. We will see you guys on the next one. Until then, 7-3.